Connections radio show, where we talk about ideas that intrigue us. We explore topics that get us thinking and talking, discovering the connections to ourselves, the people in our lives, our community, and the world around us. And we like to talk about art. Art and community. How does art both imagine a future and give roadmaps to community development and empowerment? USA Today named our Northeast Minneapolis the best arts district in the country. There are a high number of artists and high-quality art in that community, but there's something very special that makes that community thrive with the arts, and that's Nemma, the Northeast Minneapolis Arts Association. And today I have as my co-host Damian Strange, who is the director of Nemma. Welcome, Damian.
Thank you, Lori.
So glad you're here. And we have a guest here, Anna Becker, who is the assistant director of Nemma. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, Lori.
So glad you're here. You've been with Nemma for 6 years.
Yes.
So you've seen some changes over the years.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen Nemma really grow and become an organization that is quite significant to the community of Northeast, even though it's been around for about 23 years. We're really coming into our own.
You were mentioning that having the breweries come in kind of helped bring it up a notch as well.
I'd say having the breweries come into Northeast Minneapolis was an added attraction for people to come into the neighborhood. That was already pretty cool and vibrant because of the artists. And Northeast is a pretty happening place to be because we have a lot of artists, a lot of breweries, a lot of restaurants. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's fun. I remember having some folks on last year on the show that were talking about not only, is it a good place to come have beer, but they also host exhibitions. And artists are able to have their artwork there, and they help sponsor some of the programs you do.
Yeah, it's definitely a community where we support one another. Breweries and brewers and restaurant owners, they're artists too. They're makers, they're creators, and we're better together. We help each other out, and they're art appreciators, they're art buyers, they're artists themselves, and we all help each other.
It becomes the roadmap to building community, everyone being able to work together.
Yeah, it's definitely a shared value and a shared appreciation.
So you often get asked, what is Nemma? So I'm going to let you do that for us as well. What is Nemma from your point of view?
Well, Nemma is a collection of members. We're mostly artists. We have nearly 1,000 members. Most of them are artists, but we've got community friends and nonprofit organizations and business members. And what we do is we take this collective voice and we use it to produce Art-A-Whirl, which is the largest open studio tour in the country. We have our autumn show, which happens in the fall.
And tell me about autumn. How does it end with autumn? How do you write it?
So it's spelled the French way. Oh. So it has an E at the end, but the NE is in uppercase. So it's
very nice.
Like Autumn Northeast.
Very nice.
And it was originally conceived of as a way for Nemma members to see the work of other Nemma members. So everyone gets to put in one piece, and then everyone comes to the opening and can see the work of their fellow members. We can fit about 250 pieces in there, and Nemma,
depending on size.
Depending on size. So when this started, we had maybe about 400 Nemma member artists, and now we've got almost 900.
Wow.
So that's where like having a website and an app comes into it, where you can see the work of many people. But we also do a biennial, so that's every 2 years, juried exhibition called Wintertide, and the next one's coming up in 2019, where it's highly competitive. There are cash prizes, and this is where artists put in their best work.
I remember going to Wintertide last year, And it was fun because recently I saw one of the artists that was in the Wintertide in another exhibit. So it's great to see it being kind of a launching pad. One of the artists is now having her work up at the Hopkins Center for the Arts. So it was great to see the Barbie.
Oh, yes, Nicole Huff.
Yes, yeah. So there she is, and there's that piece again. So it's cool to see how you network as well with other parts of the city.
Yeah, the great thing about Wintertide is it's such a high quality event, but it's local, it's here, and it's interesting because I think a lot of artists think that in order to make it, you have to leave Minnesota or you have to be on the coasts, and that's just not true. You can show your art here and have it recognized and be seen on a national level too.
One of the things that I admire about what you do is that you consider artists business people.
Yes.
And so in that frame, you also then help support a business point of view, and you have business workshops.
Yes. One of the benefits of being a Nemma member is that we put on workshops in professional development, and Nemma members get to attend these for free. And they are open to the public, but they have to pay a small fee. What artists learn in school, if they went to school for art, is how to do their art, which is extremely important. But not a lot of focus is put on how to live and how to sell it. So we do professional workshops on putting together your portfolio. What are the legal considerations? How do you put together a contract? How do you do your taxes? How do you photograph your work? How do you store that work? How do you present that to galleries? How do you talk about yourself? How do you market yourself? Like, how do you build a website? All of this is extremely important. And it's also a barrier to great artists getting their work like out there and seen.
And it's important because you're not only empowering the artists, you're empowering the community to take their art seriously.
Right.
You know, there's no need to be starving artists. I mean, that's the romantic idea, and folks, getting art for cheap. I mean, that is not the way it should be. Art needs to have a respect, and it needs to be an economic model for good things.
Yep.
Tell me more.
Well, and to take a step back, we know through a lot of research that's been done in the past few years by Minnesota Citizens for the Arts and the State Arts Board and other arts organizations that have contributed to the research that artists and the creative economy contributes a great deal to the overall economy of the Twin Cities and the state. And therefore, Nemma is not just impacting Northeast Minneapolis. It really has impact on the whole metro area, really bringing attention and supporting the creative community through Northeast. Actually, it has an impact over the greater Twin Cities area.
Absolutely. Some friends tease me about living in Minnesota, and they say, how can you take that climate? And I go, well, there's the geology, the geographic climate that, has about our weather. But then there's the creative climate and the artistic climate. And we have an amazing artistic climate.
Yeah.
And that creativity, I think, draws other people, if not to come live here, at least to appreciate the great artists and the opportunities there are to do art and to buy art.
Right. True.
So you have some favorite stories of artists that you have worked with over the years. Tell me about an artist that that you've seen maybe grow and change through the support of Nemma.
Well, sure. I'm thinking of one artist in particular who sent us a lovely thank you note last year. So Nemma provides stipends for artists during Art World Weekend who would like to do art demos for visitors. One of the things that we like to do during Art World is to make it accessible for anybody. It doesn't matter what your income is or who you are, where you live, that you can come to Art World and you can experience art. So we've put together a stipend program for our artists that if they want materials to do demos with so that people can see what they're working on, or get their hands, messy, and do that work themselves. That the artists can provide that to visitors. And one artist, Shion Leach, went through the process of applying for this stipend through Nemma, and she got it. We awarded her the money, and she bought her paint supplies, and she went out and she did this art demo during Art Whirl. And afterwards she said, it was so amazing. It was so affirming to be doing my artwork for people and to see the connection it made with people. And it also emboldened her to start going after other grants. Wonderful. Because if she could apply for a grant with Nemma and get it, it made her think, okay, now I can start looking at other grants through like the Minneapolis Regional Arts, or the Minneapolis Regional Arts Council. I call it MRAC all the time. I just go MRAC.
Yeah.
So in dealing with Nemma, it's also a way for artists to kind of learn how to deal with larger entities too, to start applying for like funding and to put language around what their projects are, to start packaging it almost for.
Absolutely. I can see where grants seem overwhelming.
Right.
A lot of folks look at grants and they see a lot of questions that have to be asked, a lot of information, and it can be, overwhelming. But giving them the opportunity to do the baby step and be able to have the self-esteem and the confidence to say, this is what I can do and this is what I want to do and can you fund me? Making that first ask is like the step in the right direction.
Exactly right.
Well, I want y'all to go to Nemma.org. That's NEMAA.org. Learn more about what they do and the cool things that they're about. And you're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Fearless Comedy would like to invite you to relax, take a deep breath, and enjoy the moment. Because at Die Laughing, we'll be producing 50 straight hours of comedy, and if you go, you're going to need some rest. Die Laughing is a 50-hour comedy marathon taking place at the Phoenix Theater in Minneapolis from April 6th through April 8th. It will feature some of the funniest and most creative comedy acts in the Twin Cities, including May the Farce Be With You, a fearless Star Wars extravaganza that features work by Lori Beth Fitz. You can find the full lineup online at dielaughingmarathon.com. We know that you're excited. You might lose control when you hear that you can come and go for the entire weekend for just a suggested donation of $20. But be calm. Save your energy. Otherwise, you may just die laughing. Die Laughing is a fundraiser for Fearless Comedy Productions. At Fearless, we believe comedy shouldn't be scary. It should be fearless.
The Spring St. Paul Art Crawl, presented by the St. Paul Art Collective, will be running April 27th, 28th, and 29th. This is a must-do experience that you will love. Over the weekend, you'll have the chance to explore a wide variety of art while touring through local artist studios, lofts, and galleries. Hosting over 350 artists, up for purchase will be paintings, photography, pottery, sculpture, fiber arts, and more. The Art Crawl sprawls over 34 locations. Join the Art Crawl and discover outstanding art for you to own. When you buy local art, you're providing to artists so that they may continue to create the art we love. The Metro Transit is supporting the local art community with free transit passes. Download your pass to ride buses and light rail for free during the Art Crawl. Be sure to get details at the stpaulartcrawl.org. That's the stpaulartcrawl.org.
Hey, parents of children with asthma, here's the Breathe Easies with another one of your favorite hits.
Don't smoke in the house. Don't smoke in the house. Don't smoke around the kids in the house. Don't smoke in the car. Don't smoke in the house. Don't break my heart with your secondhand smoke in the kids. It can trigger the asthma.
Preventing asthma attacks can be as simple as making your home and car smoke-free zones. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Up next, well, what do you know? The Breathe Easies with another hit song, Vacuum Up the Floor.
Vacuum up the floor. Vacuum up the floor. Yeah! Vacuum up the floor. The asthma trigger is no more. You gotta vacuum up the furniture and vacuum in the cracks because the dander and the dust can give kids asthma attacks.
Simple steps can help your kids breathe easier. Vacuum up the floor to keep your house free of dust, dander, and dust mites. For more Breathe Easy tips to help stop asthma attacks, go to noattacks.org. Brought to you by the EPA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Connections Radio. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and today we have been talking about the Northeast Minneapolis Art Association, NEMAA. You can take a look at that website. It's nemaa.org. And I have today Damian Strange, who is the director of Nemma, and I also have his assistant director of Nemma, Anna Becker. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
And in our last segment, we were talking with Anna about the history of Nemma, some cool artists that have experienced the opportunities to be able to learn their craft and also learn the business. And we also learned last segment about how USA Today named our Northeast Minneapolis the best arts district in the country. Damien, when you're working with Nemma, one of the things also that I admire is that you always have a progressive vision of looking at what's next. You know, what's the future? What are the ways to keep developing this organization that brings community and art and economic empowerment to a community? So help me with what do you see as the next horizon that your organization is envisioning to support Nemma?
Sure. Well, in 2017, Nemma spent a lot of time both sort of understanding who we were as an organization and our place in the community. We went through both a rebranding process and a strategic plan and building a new strategic plan. We knew that we do a lot of things well and we have a lot of connections in the community, but there are some things that we could be doing better. And these processes helped us at least make some first steps in the right direction, I think.
So some of the top things that you're looking to keep developing, what would they be?
Well, we know that our membership is getting older, and that we haven't traditionally in the past done a lot of work to support folks who are really just starting out in their careers or just thinking about being an artist. And those folks are probably in our middle schools and high schools or just entering art school at this point. So one of the things that we wanted to focus on was how do we sort of encourage that community, how do we support that community and help them get a realistic understanding of what it's like to be an artist and have a professional arts career, or how can they use their creative talents in another type of career. And so, as Anna mentioned before in the last segment, we've been doing workshops for a few years now in partnership with Springboard for the Arts. What does it look like if we build programming and workshops to support new and emerging artists, really that next generation of artists? That way we make Nemma itself more sustainable. You know, we have a membership, a constant influx of new members. That'll make sure that the organization is around to continue to do the work that we're already doing.
What I hear and what intrigues me is the idea of supporting creativity in an individual, no matter where that creativity can be applied.
Yes.
So that you may choose a career and be encouraged to use your creativity to create art, or you may use your artistic creativity to influence your profession.
Yes, absolutely.
And to encourage a wider perspective of your profession that allows you to think outside the box.
Absolutely.
For the work that you want to do.
Yeah, if we look at even just the most recent elections in Minneapolis, a number of the new council people have a background in the arts. I know in particular one, Jeremiah Ellison, was a part of the city's creative partnership where they had artists come in and sort of embedded them in a city department to help that department look at their work in a different way. And I think he was inspired by that to run for office. But he's a muralist and painter by profession and background. But he also ran for office to have a policy job. And
how cool is that?
Yeah.
Someone who can imagine a mural, I believe, can imagine a new way of doing things.
Right.
And how much more trust I have with folks who have imagination, especially when we're faced with so many challenges that we are today.
Right.
I want folks that aren't just going to do the same old, same old. And the creative inspiration from a muralist into policy, I think, is amazing.
Yeah, I think that works in a lot of different sectors. If sectors, leaders of different sectors begin to value the artist and a creative mind, we will see that innovation continue to grow in the Twin Cities in particular.
And you were mentioning to me earlier about some high school programs. Is that tied to this initiative to look at, being able to support the high school through programming?
Absolutely. And also, as we find these days, while the need for creativity as an outlet, as a communication tool, as just a way to share experiences in community, while that is critical, now I think we see it getting dismissed a lot, especially when we're going towards STEM, not STEAM. And we want high school students that are finding themselves drawn to the arts. We want to support them in a way that builds them, that builds a platform for success later on. So the idea of Nemma Next is to really give these kids tools that they can use to be successful in life with an art practice, whether that's in their job or if it's their full-time thing or if it's just a way for them to relax or be a part of their community. So.
And specifically, Nemma is partnering with one of our board members. She happens to be an instructor for the ceramics department at Edison High School. And one of the things that we were able to do is really make a connection between some of our members who are interested in mentoring young artists and having them sign up to be mentors for her IB ceramics students. So that started, sort of got off the ground as a pilot last fall and hoping to get that up and running this spring.
It is important, and I do see a lot of arts funding getting cut. That we're losing art teachers, we're losing drama teachers, we're losing the things that help us be creative. And as we were talking about earlier, how can creativity really impact all that we do? The creative process should inspire science as well.
Well, it's the main way to communicate science to the masses. I mean, this is art and music and language. This is how humans understand the world.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be coming up on a break pretty soon. In our next break, we're going to continue our discussion about the vision of Nemma and the vision for building community and artists and economic celebration that continues to grow from one generation to the next, and plans for the future. And you're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is Connections Radio Show, where we like to talk about art and cool things. We'll be right back after a few short announcements.
The Spring St. Paul Art Crawl, presented by the St. Paul Art Collective, will be running April 27th, 28th, and 29th. This is a must-do experience that you will love. Over the weekend, you'll have the chance to explore a wide variety of art while touring through local artist studios, lofts, and galleries. Hosting over 350 artists, up for purchase will be paintings, photography, pottery, sculpture, fiber arts, and more. The Art Crawl sprawls over 34 locations. Join the Art Crawl and discover outstanding art for you to own. When you buy local art, you're providing to artists so that they may continue to create the art we love. The Metro Transit is supporting the local art community with free transit passes. Download your pass to ride buses and light rail for free during the art crawl. Be sure to get details at the stpaulartcrawl.org. That's the stpaulartcrawl.org. Connections Radio Show wants to feature your favorite nonprofits as well as the arts that mean the most to you. Do you have a nonprofit you care about or an artist that you'd like to have featured on Connections Radio Show? We have very reasonable advertising and sponsorship packages that would provide for an on-air segment or perhaps the whole show. Interested? I'm Lori Fitz, and contact me at fitzradio@gmail.com. That's FITZradio@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Shamblot from Shamblot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, get-you-out-of-pain-now dental office.
And I'm Rachel Shamblot. Did you know a lot of people are afraid of the dentist? You don't need to be afraid of my dad. He makes going to the dentist comfortable and even fun.
We don't care if you're a dental regular or haven't seen a dentist in years. We just want to make you comfortable and get you out of pain.
If you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get. Call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH or visit fixmyteeth.us.
Hello, I'm Dr. Vladimir von Surikov, the director and president of the Museum of Russian Art, which hosts the finest collection of Russian art in North America, as well as an award-winning gift shop, Izba. Unique gifts, artworks, and artisan-made products are sourced from artists and jewelers who use traditional Russian materials to create stunning pieces for purchase. Izba Gift Shop is on Facebook and Instagram. Our museum is at tmora.org. Visit Izba Gift Shop for that special gift you will cherish.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Hunter Haas. Today, sunny with a high near 30 degrees. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 15. And Sunday, snow likely, high near 29. This week's EatLocalMinnesota.com Restaurant of the Week is Cafe Latte, a gourmet cafeteria with an ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. They have a pizza and wine bar with an extensive wine list by the glass on Victoria and Grand in St. Paul. Details at EatLocalMinnesota.com.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and we're talking about the Northeast Minneapolis Arts Association, NEMA, and that's NEMAA.org. Go look it up. There's some cool things that they're doing there. We've been talking about the events that they have, the professional development. In our last segment, we started talking about how NEMA organization is envisioning the future and how they want to support their mission and values. So we hadn't quite gotten to the mission and values. So I am looking forward to having Damian Strange, who is the director of NEMA, share about that. We also have Anna Becker here today. She is the assistant director of NEMA. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
So tell me about, you've been working on this, the Springboard for the Arts gave you a grant to be really looking at, how you want to strategically plan. Was that part of the support that they did for you?
Well, no, they actually have more support around our workshops.
Got it.
We just invested in looking at our organizations ourselves. And we did. Obviously, we have had some funding from McKnight around general operating costs, and we use some of that money to actually just look at who we are and where we're going in the future.
So stepping back, taking stock of what you've been doing and how you've been doing, what's been working, what you want to improve upon, and with that, you developed your mission statement. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we, as I said before, had been doing some things well, and so we didn't want to just throw everything out.
Sure.
So we made some slight adjustments to our mission statement, and now we're more focused on an equitable and prosperous creative community that celebrates Northeast Minneapolis. We still recognize that our roots and our base is in Northeast Minneapolis, even though we do have a number of artists who don't live in Northeast that do come there to work.
You celebrate community.
Celebrating community.
That's the heart. It always has seemed to me that you look at the community and go, what are your assets? And you've got a lot of artistic assets.
We do.
So how do you maximize those artistic assets? You look at the future in terms of working with young people. Yeah. But there are other aspects of community that you look at too.
Right. And we, again, we've been working in community a lot and doing some things well. But one of the things that we have to think about, again, is how much Northeast has changed over the past, 10 years, over the past decade. It's gotten a lot more diverse, a lot of new emerging communities that hadn't lived in Northeast before. Mm-hmm. And what are we doing as an organization to make sure that we are lifting up those artists or creating access for those communities to art that represents them?
So you've become more multicultural, do you see, in the last 10 years?
Well, the community has.
Right.
Whether Nemma has is up for debate. I think
so. You want to be more reflective.
We want to be more reflective of the community that we are charged with serving. Yeah.
So to be more reflective, equity becomes the key term in there.
Mm-hmm. And we know, again, that we can do a little bit better at outreach to the communities. And so our idea is to create programming or opportunities to connect with a broader community that is more reflective. One of the things that we are doing, and we're going to try this year, are meetups in the community, focusing on a particular business and inviting the community to be a part of these sort of celebrations again and get-togethers. We're going to have one on April
11th.
Yeah.
Ooh, coming up.
We're having, it's officially a Nemma member mixer, but non-members can come too. We're holding...
As she smiles at me, that sounds like fun.
You can come.
Thank you.
This will be at 612 Brew on the corner of Broadway and Central Northeast.
Yet another way that breweries are supporting.
Yes. 612 has been very supportive of Nemma. And this is going to be at 6:30 to 8:30. Cafe Racer will be there. Yes. And any Nemma member who brings a non-Nemma member gets a free pint of beer. So everyone should come.
So bring your artist friend from the Northeast.
I mean, it's going to be it's our first one, but it's going to be a great way for members to just mix with other members. A lot of times during our events, people are in their studio, for meeting and talking with the visitors, but they're not necessarily talking with other artists. Mm-hmm. So this is a great way for us to kind of come together and have artists talk to other artists, but also talk about what Nemma's doing and what they can do as members to give back to the community and to help each other.
So it's a fun facts to know and tell and drink beer. Good time had by all.
Yes. And for those who don't drink, 612 does have a bevy of non-alcoholic offerings. So.
I think it's great to get people out. Artists can have a very solitary, work as they're developing their art, and giving the opportunities to really enrich each other by just getting to know each other and having good conversation. Mm-hmm. I have to imagine is going to, be something that adds to the community.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. This is, again, going back to our values, our top value is equity and community. And so since we think the community is at the core of our work, we think that also without it, artists would have no context or inspiration or connection, and so that's why we're focusing on every single artist as an essential part of a vibrant community, and especially focusing on those from historically underinvested communities.
Well, I've also heard about your magazine, and I actually talked about your magazine with an artist last week on the show.
Oh,
Leon Hushaw. Had mentioned that the magazine had come and did a little interview with him, and he's right now at the Museum of Russian Art tomorrow, and he loves living up in the Northeast area.
Yeah, one of the things, again, thinking about 2017 and our and taking a look at ourselves, one of the things that was a part of our rebranding effort was the fact that we really wanted to be better storytellers. about what's happening in the Northeast, about our members' work, and how art impacts community, not just the Northeast community, but our broader community as well. And so we've done that in a lot of different ways. We've revamped our website to be more sort of storyteller friendly. We've added an out-facing newsletter. But another way we wanted to do that was with a magazine, which is really taking our old directory and guide that we used to produce before every art world and turn it into and transform it into a piece or a publication that's actually telling stories or filled with relevant content about what's going on in our creative world.
How cool is that? Do you think in the future that you'll feature folks that are doing creative things in their professions that may not be considered traditional artists, or will it always be the focus looking at artists?
Well, actually, the whole idea about the magazine is to tell the story of the art of everything.
Cool.
And so we do have a segment that we will feature in each edition called The Art Of. This year, this edition, the spring edition, we're actually looking at the art of reproductive health and how art
cool is
infused
that is
in.
Great.
Yeah, we have a new board member who lives in Northeast, who is the executive director of Family Tree Clinic, and we asked her how art shows up in her work. And so you may not think of art and creativity as part of reproductive health or sexual health, but she really gives insight into how she uses it and how she even hires artists to talk about reproductive health across the community.
There are some topics that are very difficult to be able to communicate about. And art, I believe, gives pathways into just about any, and is especially important when it's a taboo topic sometimes to be able to talk about in public. How do you talk about this? So I am thrilled. I also see art and healing in the health field quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's great to see it as sort of a progressive, let's talk about, how to keep ourselves healthy. What does that mean? What does that look like? And how can we be relatable about that?
Absolutely.
And not have people hide under the tables when the topic comes up.
Right.
And making it a natural conversation.
Yes.
I think that is something that art can do too, is take topics that sometimes that we're uncomfortable and not knowing how to talk about, creates an idea or a way of looking at it that opens up conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think art has a way of allowing people to be vulnerable and open up, or even allows you to sit in discomfort.
Right.
In a way.
And
be
if
okay
it does
with
make you uncomfortable, to be able to express what makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
I mean, that's an opportunity. Maybe you don't relate to it at all.
Right.
But just the fact that you didn't relate to it, got you talking.
Yeah.
And communication, I was going to bring that up, how art allows us to communicate in so many different levels. And it's not just the verbal level.
Right, exactly.
How to connect with an idea that's expressed in new ways.
Yeah. So we're very excited about our new magazine. It'll be coming out, I think, that second week of May, a couple of weeks before Art World. It's called In Studio. So look for it around the cities.
Cool. And anyone in the cities can get this magazine. Or is it predominantly for the Northeast area?
Well, we will be we have partners across the cities. I know for one, it will be in the downtown Minneapolis area and the Skyways. Oh, actually, I think in St. Paul as well.
Cool.
In the Skyways. And then we have our business partners that will have it available. And of course, it will be everywhere during Art World weekend, so you can come out.
So if you want the magazine, and we will be having another radio show that will be featuring some artists from the Art World.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Well, we've got a couple of minutes. Anna, you've had a couple stories that you've wanted to share about artists. Is there another short story about an artist that has made an impact on you that you'd like to share at this time?
Well, I'd say that definitely in this job and the contact that I have with artists, it's put artists on my radar that I wouldn't have known about otherwise. And so I start following them on social media or I get their newsletters. And there are just so many artists out there that have such beautiful work. And one that I was thinking in particular is Nancy Grist Franchette. She's an artist that works out of the Architectural Antiques Building. And I first came across her work at our autumn show and just struck by the size. She works in pastels, pastel chalk, or oil pastels. And looking at her work and seeing it, like how there's this beautiful piece, and then going back, she actually on her website has a gallery where you can just go back in time and see what she was creating 5, 6, 7 years ago.
So you can see the trajectory of her art.
So you can see her art grow and how she gets to this place where, you know, her work started being more, started out being very realistic and has moved to a more abstract way where just a smudge of lighter color on a darker color can create this beautiful image that you know exactly what it is. And
she's taking you to another dimension.
It's quite beautiful. I find her work very calming.
And then the cool thing about going to any of these events is being able to meet the artist personally and develop that relationship, and that you too can start following the artists that inspire you, that say something to you, that speak to you, that make you intrigued or not. Get you upset, but you want to follow what kind of art they're doing because they intrigue you. So you're listening to AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, and check out Nemma by going NEMAA.org. See what they're doing. They're doing some cool things. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Damian Strange, Executive Director of Northeast Minneapolis Arts Association, NEMA, and I'm personally inviting you to Art World May 18th through the 20th. View artwork of over 650 artists in every medium at more than 50 locations throughout Northeast Minneapolis, including studio buildings, art galleries, homes, storefronts, and local businesses. The Artist Open Studio Tour may include demonstrations, mini workshops, installations, and special exhibitions. Studio tours offer a great opportunity to ask questions, discuss techniques, experience art firsthand, and purchase unique artwork directly from artists. Art World gives you a unique opportunity to meet the artists who make our community so vibrant and invest in our art community by purchasing artwork that you connect with. For more information, go to NEMAA.org. That's NEMA.org. Looking forward to seeing you at Art World.
Stages Theater Company is dedicated to creating a space where diverse opinions, courageous dialogue, and community engagement is not only valued, but vital to our shared artistic and educational success. Stages Theater Company creates a welcoming home for all. For over 30 years, Stages has supported quality theater programming for children. Stages gives opportunities for youth to be on stage, backstage, in the audience, and in the classroom. Whether you come to see a show, enroll a young person in a workshop, or benefit from their outreach programs in the community, Stages brings art to life. Learn about Stages Theater by going to stagestheater.org and become part of the magic of live theater by taking your family to an amazing show or enrolling someone you love in an education program. Stages Theater Company operates out of the Hopkins Center for the Arts, located in Main Street in the heart of downtown Hopkins. For more information on Stages Theater, go to stagestheater.org. That's stagestheater.org.
Fearless Comedy would like to invite you to relax, take a deep breath, and enjoy the moment. Because at Die Laughing, we'll be producing 50 straight hours of comedy, and if you go, you're going to need some rest. Die Laughing is a 50-hour comedy marathon taking place at the Phoenix Theater in Minneapolis from April 6th through April 8th. It will feature some of the funniest and most creative comedy acts in the Twin Cities, including May the Farce Be With You, a fearless Star Wars extravaganza that features work by Lori Beth Fitz. You can find the full lineup online at dielaughingmarathon.com. We know that you're excited. You might lose control when you hear that you can come and go for the entire weekend for just a suggested donation of $20. But be calm. Save your energy. Otherwise, you may just die laughing. Die Laughing is a fundraiser for Fearless Comedy Productions. At Fearless, we believe comedy shouldn't be scary. It should be fearless.
Your host, and today we've been talking about the Northeast Minneapolis Arts Association, NEMA, and my co-host is Damian Strange, the director of NEMA.
Hello.
Welcome, Damien.
So nice to be here.
So good to have you here. And we have your assistant director at Nemma, Anna Becker.
Hi.
So glad you're here as well. So we've been talking about all the cool things that you can do, the exhibitions, the events, the activities, how Nemma is looking to the future and looking at equity. And part of equity also is looking at the types of art that folks are involved in. And you've got not only visual arts that you're supporting, you're also doing performance arts supporting.
Yeah, no, I mean, Northeast has been known as, and particularly through Nemma, as a visual arts hub or fine arts hub. But, Northeast is also rich with performing arts. The Ritz Theater has been around for a long time, and now Theater La Ciudad is there. They have a lot of amazing programming going on.
Even the Fringe has some stuff that they do up there.
The Fringe, for sure. The Fringe's office used to be there. I don't know if it's still there. So,
I believe the Fringe's office is in the Greenbelt building.
Yeah, so it's still there in the Greenbelt building.
Cool.
Minsky does burlesque theater, which is right there on Central. But there are also just a number of recording studios in and throughout Northeast Minneapolis. Of course, we don't put on any of the concerts that happen during Art World, but a number of those breweries and restaurants are Nemma members, and so one of the things I know that a lot of them are focusing on this year are trying to get those bands to join Nemma. I see it as a benefit because what band couldn't use more promoting of their shows, and Nemma has 10,000 followers on Facebook that we can get the word out to. So it is a benefit for those performing artists to join Nemma too, and we're actively, trying to come up with more ways to support them and make their membership worthwhile.
And I love the idea of collaboration. That again, artists of different backgrounds, different focus areas in their art can benefit from each other's art and can take advantage of the time that Nemma's taking, the art world is going on, and make it a true celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite moments probably at Art World last year was at our Art in Motion segment of Art World in Northrop King building, where we did have a live painter that also used a poet as to inspire his live painting that was going on at that time, and had a violinist friend of his come in and inspire a piece during that moment. So collaboration is a beautiful part of artistic practice, and so we like to see those cross-discipline collaborations happening too.
And those intersections create
absolutely.
Interesting interpretations and viewpoints. One of the things I also want to make sure in this segment is that we talk about ways that our audience can get involved. People can go to First Thursdays. Tell me a little bit about First Thursdays, Hannah.
So First Thursdays are the first Thursday of every month. As you know, we have one coming up tomorrow. And
actually, that was a couple days ago.
What?
We're pre-recording this show. This is not live. So we've given ourselves away. It took place on Thursday, and it was a great experience. But you can go to next month.
It was amazing. You know what's also amazing? The May 1st Thursdays. So First Thursdays are the first Thursday of every month from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this is when a lot of studio buildings in Northeast are open. So anyone who maybe doesn't attend Art World because maybe they don't like crowds or they were busy that weekend can come once a month and visit these artists in their open studios, and it's very intimate, it's very fun. You can go to the open studios and then pop out and have dinner someplace close by. So First Thursdays are a lot of fun.
And you can find that on the events page?
Yes.
On the website.
If you go to the Nemma events page, we have a First Thursdays tab.
So go to nemaa.org, then go to events. Now, there's other things on those events, too.
Yeah. So anything that our artists are doing, whether there are exhibitions up or shows or workshops that Nemma is doing or classes that our artists are teaching. Many of our artists put on classes throughout the year, whether it's drawing co-op or painting, ways that people in the community can continue their arts practice.
So you'd recommend them downloading the app?
Oh, definitely.
And they download the app by going to either Google Play or iTunes Store. And what should they look for?
They should just look for the Nemma app.
So Nemmaa.
Correct.
And you've got a newsletter?
Yep.
Is that an email newsletter?
We do. We have 2 newsletters that go out once a month. One of them is specifically for Nemma members, which has artist calls and workshops going on. But we also have an audience-facing newsletter that has all the events that our artists are doing, and also article-length profiles on Nemma artists and what they're doing. So it's a great way to introduce an artist to the wider community.
And to sign up for that newsletter, do you go to the website for that?
Yes, there is a sign-up on the front page of the Nemma website.
Can't miss it?
Can't miss it.
That's terrific. So the workshops you mentioned,
Yeah.
those are open for anyone to go to?
They are open to the public. It's $10 for anyone who's not a Nemma member. If you are a Nemma member, you get in for free.
Terrific. Now, with the last couple of minutes of our show, should we preview what's coming up with Art Whirl? I know we're going to have a whole show on it, but
Yeah.
you want to get folks getting that on their calendar?
Yeah, absolutely. This year, Art World starts on May 18th and runs through May 20th, that third weekend every year. There's a lot of exciting things that that are familiar to everyone. And I mentioned the artist demos that you can take your family members to, so you can see how cool things are created, like glass making, for example. Even you might get a chance to maybe even throw some clay. not literally throw clay. That's just a term. That's an artistic term. I mean, you might be able to do that too.
Kind of like food fight, a clay fight there.
And then it'll be the second year again of Art in Motion. So make sure to stop by Northrop King third floor gallery space so you can see artists in the process of creating a piece over the course of a day. You can ask them questions about their process and things like that. So we'll be doing that again this year. Family friendly.
And bring kids, because
yes.
It's great to have kids see art and be inspired by art and start thinking about what kind of artistic endeavor they may do, whether that's in the arts field or not. It's all about imagination and influencing and encouraging kids of all ages
Absolutely.
to have fun at Nemma. Well, we're going to be having artists and our show for the Art Whirl. So stay tuned for that. We're coming up on the end. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
For coming and being part of our Connections radio show and sharing about all the wonderful work that the Northeast community is doing for arts and business and community and thriving. Thanks.